So, hello and good morning, friends. My name is Shonda Williams, and I am a Hatha yoga teacher based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I've been um, hosting a series of meditations as an offering for a friend who's a meditation teacher, and she's traveling and asked me if I'd be willing to cover for a few days for her while she's away. And so, while typically I'm in yoga studios and in spaces and places um, with groups and with an emphasis of yoga and like moving the body, um, this gives me an opportunity to really kind of share my practice and share my work in a different way. And I thought that I would make this offering available to all of you. So we're just going to take like 20 minutes of your day, of your very busy day, to anchor ourselves in stillness and awareness so that we can go forth in the rest of our day and hopefully embody a greater sense of groundedness and composure and compassion when we're engaging with others in the world. So, in honor of Black History Month and as part of my own kind of personal development, I've been rereading and reading a lot of Black authors, a lot in the mindfulness space. And I thought I'd share a passage from a book that I'm reading. And so this is called Love and Rage, and it's by Lama Rod Owens, who's an African American queer Buddhist teacher. And he wrote this book a few years ago, and I've read it a few times now. And it's like each time I read it, I get something different from it. So I'm going to share with you a passage that is on in a chapter called Woundedness and Rage on page 20. He's talking about anger. He says, anger is actually trying to tell us something. Anger is confessing that it's not the main event. There's tension arising from my unwillingness to be with this deep sense of being hurt. When I began to look at that, one of the hardest things that I could ever admit to myself was that I was just hurt, that I wasn't just pissed off. I wasn't pissed off because of racism or homophobia or something else. I was actually deeply, deeply hurt. I was deeply in despair because of the situation. This realization just made me feel weak. I think this really resonated with me for a multitude of reasons. One, I'm in the midst of preparing for a process known as Panchakarma, which is an Ayurvedic um, practice. It's designed to kind of detox not only the physical body, but the mental and emotional bodies as well, spiritual aspect of ourselves. And part of this work has been just kind of allowing myself to feel more anger, to feel more rage. It's very easy to kind of inhabit this love and light space as a yoga teacher and yoga therapist. But I think for me, just sitting with it and feeling that discomfort and recognizing that I'm not just angry about the situation or the event or the memory of a situation or event, but that there's something else that's there and being really curious about that, sitting with that discomfort and allowing myself to feel uncomfortable and explore. And so that's what our practice today is going to be, is just allowing us to really like dip the toe in the water of our awareness, our emotional body, but maybe being curious around the anger, around the rage. And it doesn't have to be something that's like huge and overwhelming where, this may not be the space. It might need more than 20 minutes to work through, but it could be something super small. You placed an order at a restaurant or a coffee shop and it got your order wrong and you only had a few minutes, and now you didn't get this thing that you wanted, that you paid for. You're feeling a hint of frustration, right? So we can dial it down, and I think a lot of times our practice can be kind of like a proving ground, right, for how we can use these techniques and practices in our lives and all the ways that these things kind of express and manifest themselves. So I'm going to give you just about 2 minutes first to think about the last time you were feeling some frustration. It could be towards yourself, it could be towards a loved one, it could be at work, or maybe just a casual encounter in the world at the grocery store or some other place. Um, or perhaps, you kind of were taken aback by someone's rudeness or what felt like disrespect in the moment, right? So just letting yourself kind of feel into that feeling of anger and rage and allowing yourself to not only like recall the memory, but let yourself feel the feelings, right? Maybe like the bubbling sensation, like in your stomach. Maybe you get a little hot, right? Your body actually physically gets a little warm as you consider that. I'm just going to give you a few moments to think about that. Okay, so you've had a few moments to think and reflect on a situation that definitely evoked some feelings that were unpleasant. And maybe you're feeling that in your body now. And so we're going to practice with the remaining 10 minutes or so of time that we have. But I'd invite you to get comfortable, right? First. So you can be seated upright in a chair with both of your feet firmly planted on the ground. You can also lie down, right? So if you want to make space, you have space available where you can lie down. I'd recommend having something under your head and something underneath the back of your knees, like a rolled blanket or a pillow. And then rest, like sit back into that chair, lay back into the floor and breathe. You can soften your gaze or perhaps softly close your eyes. If you're lying down, your arms and hands can rest on your body or just slightly off to the side. And if you're seated upright in a chair, perhaps you can rest one hand in the other on top of the lap, or you can rest your hands on top of your knees. And now, with our eyes closed and our awareness moving inward, take a moment to locate within your body where you are feeling the sensations of that anger or frustration. Maybe it's in the pit of your stomach. Maybe you can feel a tightness across your forehead or a furrowing of your brow, tightening of your jaw. Notice the quality of your breath. Is your breath shallow and quick? Is it smooth, long, slow, and deep? And so the invitation is for you to kind of hold that memory of that experience, or perhaps you encountered some resistance inside of yourself, or resistance with another being. And if this is an instance of frustration with yourself, allow yourself to see yourself, see your face, your body, your clothes. And if this encounter involved another person, perhaps see yourself and this other individual. And as you recall the exchange, as you recall that instance, again, feeling those feelings of discomfort, begin to deepen your breath, breathing in and out through your nose. And notice your feelings, the feelings of frustration, of anger, disappointment. Let's be curious about what we find there in that moment. Is it a sense of being disrespected, not being seen, not feeling like you were heard? If this is an encounter that we've had with ourselves, perhaps it's just a feeling of disappointment, of not showing up, of not perhaps really recognizing your worth. And now I'd ask you to get just a little bit more curious, curious of those kind of acknowledgments of what's behind the anger, what's behind the frustration. Whatever you find there, perhaps making space for it. And we make space again by connecting to our breath. It's breathing a little deeper, a little fuller. So that as we create the space in our physical body for more breath, perhaps we're creating more space around this experience. And as you consider this encounter that happened, can we perhaps create an opportunity for compassion? Compassion for ourselves. And if it involved another individual, compassion for that person as well. And I want to acknowledge that sometimes it's not easy to find compassion for ourselves and for others. And that's okay too. We want to make space for it all. And sometimes just acknowledging the difficulty and the challenge of being in the space of anger, being in the space of frustration. It is big, it is huge. So we allow ourselves to have space for the experience of not being able to find compassion, to find acceptance. Now I'd like to invite you to bring one or both hands onto your heart and continue to breathe. Breathe deeply, breathing in and out through your nose. A long, slow, deep breath that fills first your lungs, then your ribs, and then your chest. And then as you breathe out, releasing that breath from your chest, your ribs, and your belly. Breathing in deeply, filling first the bottom of the lungs, or our belly rounds and expands, and then the middle third of our lungs so that our rib cage opens and broadens, and then the upper third of our chest so that your chest expands and rises as the upper part of the lungs take in more breath. And then as you exhale, releasing that breath so that your chest lowers, your rib cage draws in, and then your belly hollows. So just continuing to breathe. And just notice your body, the places that your body makes contact to the floor and support beneath you. Feel the weight of your clothes upon your skin. Soften the muscles of your face, release your jaw. Maybe you open the mouth and stick out the tongue to relax the face. And then softly close the lips. I would like to close with a passage from Lama Rod Owen's book, Love and Rage, on compassion. He says in the final chapter titled Self Care on page 275, compassion is important as a part of my self care for myself and for others. First and foremost, it's touching into relating to my discomfort and wanting myself to be free from this discomfort. Then turning my attention outward into the world, wanting the same liberation for other people and other beings. That's how I remain tender-hearted. And this tender heart is a heart that is kept open and pliable and less likely to shut down. The tender heart thrives in the space we cultivate, and that space helps us to also hold the woundedness we experience from others. So it's been lovely to take this time and to practice with you wherever you are in the world. I invite you to take a moment to open your eyes if they are still closed and allow yourself to take in the light in your room, the light in the space in which you are in. Take a deep breath. So thank you for joining me for a mindful moment on this Monday. And I trust that you will be well. Take care. I'll see you soon.